All right, good morning. This is Danny Davis. I'm the director of the Office of Thesis and Dissertation. So glad you could join us for our workshop today. So the things that we're going to cover this morning in helping you with the formatting of your thesis or dissertation, or you may be doing a capstone, is we'll go over the resources that are offered on our website. We'll also go over the submission process in LIB 9010, the Canvas course. This is the course that you will take in the term that you graduate. And then we'll also demonstrate how to use the basic functions of the templates from Microsoft Word. We do offer templates in LaTeX or LaTeX, however you say that. And so if you are wanting to use LaTeX, that is totally something that's available to you. And we do have an expert on campus that can help you with that if you have issues there as well. But today we'll primarily be looking at the Word templates since they are the ones that are most used. All right, so let's go into the things that we're wanting to look at today. This is our website, library.msstate.edu/thesis. And from our website, you can access all of our resources. You can access the templates. You can access ways to contact us and set up consultations. And I'm going to show you how to access those resources from our website now. So if you look on the right side here, our contact information, the quickest way to get a response from us is through sending an email directly to me at dandavis@library.msstate.edu. And then during regular office hours, we are available to answer the phone, and we're also there for you to come by in person as well. We highly recommend you do that if you have a chance. Also, these related links that are on the left on our website, the standards for Mississippi State. It's a little over 100-page PDF document that has those standards. But the reason we created the templates is so that you shouldn't have to read those standards and make it much easier for you since we have the formatting built into the standards. Also, we have survival skills for grad students. That's really handy if you're in the beginning of the process of your writing or of your research, or even in the beginning of grad school. Those recommendations at that link are very good. We have a link to our frequently asked questions. We only help we help with other things sometimes, but we're only experts when it comes to the formatting in our office. So if you need help in the organization of your document or the content, things like grammar and syntax, that is not our expertise. But the Writing Center is right across the way from us on the second floor of the library, and they are very good. And we partner with them. They refer students to us, and we refer students to them. So I highly recommend using them as a resource as well. If you need to contact the grad school, there's the link here. This is an important link, this grad faculty link. And let me just show you what it looks like. When you go to the grad faculty page, this will help you in making sure that professors' names appear the way they wish for them to appear in publications. So let's just take the College of Arts and Sciences, and if you were doing anthropology, that's your department. The way you're going to list their name, if you were Dr. Hoffman is on your committee, you would list his name, David M. Hoffman, on your main title page, and I'll demonstrate for you how to do that. There's no need for the honorifics like the PhD suffix or a doctor prefix. We do not list it last name. We list it first name, then middle initial or middle name, and then the last name. I bring all that up because one of the things that's really important in cataloging in our library system, as well as in ProQuest, where your document will be housed after you graduate, is consistency. When it comes to search engines, how you list your name, how you list your title, how you list your professors' names are all going to make a difference in how things populate in search engines. If you've listed your committee members the same way on your main title page as when you submitted to ProQuest, and how we put it in Scholars Junction, the institutional repository for Mississippi State, that's going to help you get a lot more traction and a lot more looks at your document. So that grad faculty page is a very handy resource in making sure your professors' names appear the way that they've listed them in their other publications. We have some services here on the right side, these maroon tabs. This first tab has some tutorial videos. All of these tutorial videos are in the Canvas course, and all these resources we're talking about are there, and you'll have access to that in the term that you graduate. So if you're graduating in December, you should already be enrolled in LIB 9010. But if not, if you're graduating in spring or next fall or next summer or 2027, this is how you can access these resources. These tutorial videos, we're currently in the process of updating some of them. You can see some are 4 years old, and Microsoft Word is constantly making updates, and things like APA has a new edition out, and those type of things. We're working on updating them, as well as our submission process. We're constantly working to make it easier and more simple for you as students, as well as us in the office, and for your professors. And so here on the library's YouTube account channel, we've created this playlist. I always tell students, if you have something you run into in using our template, do not struggle with it more than 5 or 10 minutes. And if it's during office hours, shoot me an email. If it's not, that's what these tutorial videos are for. If you're working late at night, or sometime other than 8 to 5, go ahead and see if you can figure out with a tutorial video. If that still doesn't work, shoot us an email, go to bed. We'll respond to you as quick as we can. And those videos can be helpful at times with many things. So also, what we're going through with how to submit your ETD, there's a page here you can look at if you need to see that outlined in chronological order. There's a list of that. And then to access our free templates, this tab here, Format Your ETD with Free Templates, if you go to this link, it's going to take you to the institutional repository for the university, which is Scholars Junction. And you can see here, you can get the LaTeX template as well as the Word. For the Word, you'd click this link, and what it's going to do, you'll need to click this blue tab, and it'll download a zip file that has all of the Word templates on the zip file. And the reason we do that is because many departments do not have a required template. And so that gives you the option of looking at all of them together and figuring out which one you prefer to use if they give you that option. But you do need to ask your major professor or your committee if they have a preference, because some departments do have a preference in the way that you organize your document. And those templates are built for the ways that you can organize it differently. And the main differences with the templates have to do with how headings and subdivisions within your document populate. And so there's some differences there in how things like figures populate and tables. So like template A does everything chronologically. So if your first table doesn't come till chapter 3, it's still going to be table 1. But if you're using template B or C, that the first table, no matter, if whatever chapter's in, if it's in chapter 3, it'd be 3.1. So the chapter number is always going to be first, and then chronologically throughout that chapter will be the number that follows the chapter number. So that's kind of the biggest difference in how the templates populate. The template C populates every single heading as a number. And that's something that's very popular sometimes among chemistry and mathematics and engineering. and those type degrees on campus. Going back to our website, if you need to set up a one-on-one consultation with us, this tab right here will take you to how you can do that here and make an appointment with us. You can choose a date and then the times that are available. And as you fill out your information there, you'll be able to pick whether you prefer to do that consultation in person or virtually. Then we have our deadlines listed. These deadlines are accurate unless you're in the College of Arts and Sciences. The College of Arts and Sciences, their defense deadline is Monday, October the 13th, for this fall to graduate in December. And then they have a deadline to have their documents turned into the dean's office next Friday on the 17th. And so that's a little bit different. They want their students working ahead. But for everyone else on campus, unless you've been given other instructions, these are the basic deadlines. And this defense deadline that is next Friday on the 17th, you have to defend by the end of the day that day in order to meet the requirements to graduate in December. That deadline is set by the Dean's Council, and they give us that deadline, and then we make our deadlines work off of that. And typically our initial submission deadline comes a couple of weeks after the defense deadline. And then we have a final deadline that comes, right at the end of the semester, about a week or two before graduation, to give you about a month to get everything edited after we've been able to get that submission and review it at least one time. So those deadlines work very similar in the spring and summer. Typically, the defense deadline is set the Friday after spring break. The initial deadline ends up happening the beginning of April, and then that final deadline is early May. For summer, the defense deadline normally happens toward the end of June. And then the initial submission deadline, the beginning of July, right after the 4th of July holiday. And then the final submission deadline is either right toward the end of July or the very beginning of August. So those deadlines run very similar. We have not received the defense deadline for spring. We should. As soon as we do, we'll begin posting those deadline dates here on our website. Workshops, thank you for being here today. If you have peers that are asking questions about how to use the template or the submission process, it is not required. Some departments do, and I love those departments that require you to attend one of our workshops. We can't require it though, but I'll tell you, just by you being here today, it should save you time and a little bit of stress. And that's something that is very important. And what we want to do for you is make the process easy. We do not believe that the last thing you do before you graduate should cause an absolute nightmare. So, and you may have heard stories like that with formatting. We want it to be something that's a smooth process and works very easily for you as you finish up this journey of getting your graduate degree. All right, so that's how our website works. We're going to look at the Canvas course now and talk through the submission process. In the Canvas course, your view as a student looks like this. You can see that you can access the website from there and go to register for workshops. The tutorial videos are also included here in the Canvas course, as well as all of the templates. We also have those deadlines posted here. And then where everything will happen for your submissions happens in the modules. So we're going to go to that modules page and walk through this submission process. And I'm going to leave the student view because, as you can see, after this module 00, they are locked. We have the modules set up in such a way that we force you to work through everything chronologically so that things do not happen out of order. And I'll explain why that's really important. So this first module is a video quiz. We call it View Me First. It asks 10 questions as you're viewing the video, and you must get at least 8 of the 10 correct questions correct in order for it to unlock Module 1. And it's just basic things that we're talking about right now. The submission process. What do you need to do in order to graduate? You have to be enrolled in LIB 9010 and things like that, and things about the form and the different process. Once you've made at least an 80 on this quiz, it'll unlock Module 1, where we have our acceptance form. The acceptance form cannot be completed until after you've successfully defended. Let's take a look at that acceptance form. If you go into that module, there's also a tutorial video there that will walk you through how to fill this form out. And I'll tell you, every once in a while we get complaints saying, well, this is such a long form. It's 3 pages long. Well, it used to be 3 separate forms, and that was a lot worse. So we're constantly doing things to make the process much more smoother for you, so that you're not having to get signatures more than once from your committee. At least for us, I know the grad school also has a form that's different from our acceptance form. On this form, on the first page, is where you'll put some information, your name, your 9-digit ID. Then we've built in drop-down boxes to try to save you from having to type and do manual typing as much as possible. And you'll select the type of degree that you're working on in that drop-down box. And then you'll put your title here. Now, when you type out your whole title, if it's really long, you may not be able to see it, or your professors may not be able to see it, but it's there. If they really opened up the document properly, they would be able to see the entire title. Sometimes, professors don't want to open it with Adobe or something for some reason, and they're like, I can't see the whole title. That's if they ask you that question, that's what's going on. Another thing about your main title is go ahead and get in the habit of making it sentence case. Just like we were talking about with the grad faculty names. We want consistency. And sentence case means the first letter of the first word will be capitalized, then everything else is lowercase unless it's a proper noun, or if it follows a colon or some type of punctuation mark like that, then the next letter would be capitalized. But we want consistency. So if you begin doing that, even here, it's going to help you further down and not be tempted to make it every word capitalized or make it all caps. The main title is to be sentence case. We're not going to count off if you don't do it right on this form, but we will later not count off, but we'll make you correct it. So you'll need, after you successfully defend, the signatures of your major professor, your committee members, your grad coordinator, and your dean. And so most professors are used to this process and used to doing time-stamped signatures. So you say, well, what if my major professor is also a grad coordinator? We've got those things built in, all these different options you can select like that. Or what if my grad coordinator is also on my committee? We have that as an option too. And so, you're just going to pick your college here. Your dean will sign it after they've seen that all of your committee members have signed the document. The second page of the acceptance form is the rights and permission portion of the form. And so this is where you will decide if you need to place a restriction or an embargo on your document. I would say maybe half of our students do that. There's 3 options. The first option here, you would mark there if your document can be released immediately and immediately available to the public, both in Scholars Junction, the IR, the Institutional Repository, and ProQuest. If for some reason your document needs to be restricted to campus only, you would select the second option. Some reason, and campus only means that only Mississippi State faculty, staff, and students would be able to view your document. And then you would pick a time period for that restriction to be 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years. Okay. If you need a restriction, an example, let's say that one of your chapters is you're waiting on it to be published in a journal as an article. and it hasn't happened yet, and you know it's going to happen within just a few months, you know, a couple of months, a 6-month restriction might be all you need. Or maybe they've not really gotten to it yet to approve it, and you don't know where they are in the process. You might need a 1 year or a 2 year restriction. You know, so that's one of the more common examples. The reason being, most journals are in the business of making money, so they do not want anything that they publish to be available to the public until after they've been able to publish it first. And so that's one of the reasons for placing a restriction on your document. If you need a total embargo, that means no one's able to see your document. You would select this third option, and you can see some reasons listed here: due to a patent or a proprietary purpose. In your research, you may have invented something, and need a patent to be approved before you can make it available to others. And you would also pick a time period there. So that's how that rights and permissions page is filled out. If you do not know what you need to do, that's what your advisor, your major professor, is for, to help you work through these type decisions. The last page of the form is where you just place your initials by these student acknowledgments. These are there to help protect you as well as Mississippi State with your document. And so all of these need to be initialed. I recommend reading through this with your major professor, and then you would sign it and date it, and your major professor would sign and date that document. So once you get that form filled out, you'll be able to upload it within the module there. When you submit something in Canvas, we get a notification that lets us know it's been submitted. Then we can review it. If there's something missing or maybe something doesn't match, you have to take a quiz that makes sure what you put on the form matches what's in the quiz. That we want to know 100%, sure that what you put about a restriction or embargo and those kinds of things are exactly what you wanted. And so if there's some sort of discrepancy, we'll give you a score of like a 25 and then tell you what needs to be corrected. But everyone ends up getting a 100 eventually. And once you get that 100 grade, that will open module 2, where there's the author information module. In this module, you'll fill out some information that helps our catalogers know more about your document, know more about you and your degree. Something that's really important in the author information is the two most important things to me is a long-term email address, because once you graduate, your net ID for Mississippi State email address will deactivate about 6 months to a year after you graduate. So if you could give us a long-term way to contact you with an email that's like a Gmail or a Yahoo or an iCloud, that would be very helpful, because it's not uncommon for us to receive contacts from outside, people wanting to research theses and dissertations that are in our institutional repository. And many times we need to they would like to talk to the author. And so that's a way we can connect you with people that are interested in your research. The other thing that's really important in the author information is there's a place where you can put your keywords. And that's really, I say that because during the ProQuest submission, and a lot of times students forget to put their keywords, but we will not let you finish this author information without putting your keywords. That way we can go back and know what they are if you forgot to put them. We love it if you put it in there when you submit to ProQuest though. And then once you've filled out that author information, it's going to automatically give you access to module 3. And this is the initial submission module. We'll go into this module and let you see what it looks like. And of course, know that what you're viewing with me looks a little bit different. All these options on the left, you're not going to be able to see because I'm using the administrative version of Canvas right now. But as you can see, when you submit your document here, your initial submission, that means you've met the deadline. So if you're on target to graduate in December, You have to have everything we've talked about up to this point, that View Me First video, the acceptance form approved and given a 100 and completed the author information. And then you can attach your document here and submit it, upload it here in the initial submission module, and that will meet that deadline. That deadline is October 31st. We have a lot of students that have already met it. We have students that have already finished, students that defended like in July, or and didn't meet the deadline to defend and graduate in the summer. So they've already finished with the entire process and they're ready to graduate. We'll do the same thing for the spring Canvas course. It'll go live by the beginning of December. So if you're in the workshop today and you're not able to graduate in December, but you're going to defend in November, then you'll be able to start submitting things, by the end of the year in the Canvas course, and work ahead as much as you can. So the way this particular module works is once you submit, we get a notification and we go in and review your document. We have a rubric set up of common things that we see students make mistakes with that need to be corrected. And so, as you can see, we've talked about the main title needing to be sentence case. That's a very common thing that needs to be corrected. If that's something that's wrong with yours, we'll leave a comment in the ratings column next to it on that same row. If there's no comment next to the issue, that issue's fine. And so, there's quite a few things here, and a lot of students find it handy to see the rubric. We do have a copy of the rubric in the modules. I'll show it to you when we leave this from inside this module, just so you can see where it's at. But as we review the document, the first time you submit and we review it and we give you feedback in the rubric or things that you need to correct, we'll give you a score of 25. It doesn't mean you have an F. What we do in our office is we keep up with how many times it takes for us to get to a 100. Very few do we go to 75. Normally, the first time we give you a 25, and then we give you a 50. And normally, if there's major issues there, it's time for a consultation, right? Us get together and get on the same page and figure out what's going on. But that helps us see how well we're able to streamline our workflow with students and keep data on that to try to continue to make the process run smoother for you and us in our office. But once we get everything edited to perfection with your document, we're going to give you a grade of 100 in this module. And we will convert the document. If you're using the Microsoft Word template, we're going to convert it to a PDF file in the office. And the reason we do that is because we're running tests on it to make sure that it's going to be web accessible, that it's going to be a very good file that's not corrupted. We have tests that we run on the PDF that makes sure that you're going to have a really good document to work with, and that it'll last as long as possible and be something that will not have any issues in the places that it's going to be housed. All right. Once you get that 100, we share that PDF file in the comments, and then you'll be able to go to Module 5. If you're a doctoral candidate, the one place you can work ahead is Module 4 and do the doctoral candidate. Only doctoral students will do Module 4. And what happens here, if you're in the course, you may have seen an announcement that I just sent out this week about the survey of earned doctorates. Their website was down for a couple of days, and they sent us an email telling us why. But now it's back up and running fine. So what happens there is, and that's a government-run website, so it's a way that the U.S. government takes a census with people that have received doctoral degrees in the United States of America. It evaluates what your experience was like, and just a survey. You get a little certificate, and we keep up with that at Mississippi State University, everyone that completes that survey, and it's something that we require all doctoral candidates to do. So doctoral students, make sure you do Module 4, not necessary for those working on a master's degree. I said that rubric, so if you scroll down in the modules, the rubric's going to be here in this standards area, so you can access the standards there as well as that rubric. And then there's a little workshop handout. We're going to go over everything that handout covers though today, so we will not look at it. But you see on Module 6, we no longer are doing that final submission, because used to you had to submit to ProQuest and then to Scholars Junction, but now we're working along with ProQuest and have come up with a way to batch your submission in ProQuest to Scholars Junction. So that's one less step than we had a year ago. When you submit to ProQuest, you're going to need that PDF that we share with you that's been approved after you've received that 100 grade. There's also a tutorial video to walk you step by step through the ProQuest submission. And so when you go into this module, it's gonna send you to ProQuest, the website. So ProQuest is an academic database with theses and dissertations from all over the world. Let's take a moment and just kind of look at what that submission looks like. So when you get ready to submit in ProQuest, this is what the ProQuest website appears like. You'll want to have some things ready and handy with you. That PDF copy of your dissertation or thesis needs to be ready to upload. You'll need to have your abstract handy so that you can copy and paste it, and I'll show you where that'll happen in just a moment. If you have any supplementary files that go along with your document, there's going to have a place you can upload those. You'll need to have your major professor, your advisor, other committee member names ready to enter into the system, your subject categories, and as I mentioned before, have your keywords ready as well. Also, the biggest error that I think we see is people do not know what their department name is sometimes. And so make sure you know what your department name is. That's handy on your main title page. And what happens is a lot of people, I guess, just don't see that it says department and they put their college, because we have to list all those in the same drop-down box. But make sure that you have your department name handy when you get ready to submit to ProQuest. When you finish this page, it'll come to this publishing options. And so, as I mentioned, this is an option. This is not something you have to do. But if you are interested in purchasing an open access along with your submission to ProQuest, and this is not payment to Mississippi State, this is just between you and ProQuest, for $95, you can add open access to your document. And so if you want to learn more about open access, they have things there. If you have questions, you can contact us. We have some articles that you can read that help you understand more about what open access is. I guess the best way for me to put it in layman terms is open access makes it to where your document's going to get more visibility. And in places like, Google Scholar and, and I will say this, open access in Scholars Junction is already there. So, you do not have to purchase it for that. So some students do still want to do that though. So we have that as an option here. There's also an agreement with ProQuest. And then when you get to the contact information, your name, you want to, just like we've said with professor names and with the title, you need to be consistent with how you list your name. However you put it on your main title page, you need to list it that way everywhere. However you put your first name, if you have a middle name or middle initial, last name, be consistent with that. If you have an ORCID account or want to create an ORCID account, there's an option there. I highly recommend doing that. That's another thing that's going to help your research become more visible. That permanent email address we talked about. More things with ProQuest here, because they'll be contacting you with things, with data about your document. They give regular updates on how many times it's been downloaded and things like that. And then your actual document, your title, your abstract, all these drop down boxes, your department, see how we have, it's got the colleges listed, But unless your department truly is the college, and that does happen in a couple of places, most of these need to be selected as department, right? So make sure you do that. And then your subject categories and your keywords, your advisor or major professor, and then your committee members need to be filled in on that page. And then on this PDF page is where you'll upload your document. If you need to add supplemental files, that'll happen here. If you need to leave some special notes, they have a place for that. If you'd like to add copyright to your document, there's a small layer of it, but if you're one of those people that's wanting to place a total embargo because you have a patent, you probably need to pay for more copyright. That's something your major professor should be able to help you as well. And that costs $75 to do it here in ProQuest when you submit. That's optional. You may not want to do it, but then later on you can decide. There's tons of websites out there where you can add copyright. Just be careful and make sure it's not a place you'll get scammed. But there's a lot of ways and a lot of places you can add copyright. That's not something you'll do through Mississippi State through the banner system at all, though. And then when you get to that point, they also offer, if you want to have a hard copy of your document, they have an option where you can print that. And now ProQuest used to not be the place I recommended for students to go, but they now work along with Thesis in Demand. Thesisindemand.com is also another place you can go, but ProQuest, they've merged. I don't know yet if the website Thesis on Demand has more options yet than ProQuest does. I know their website, like if you wanted to get a maroon hardback, that's an option on their website. And so, that might be something you want to look at before you decide to buy it here, depending on what kind of paper you want to use. They give you a lot of options, a lot of cover options and things like that. And then you'll be ready to submit your document. Okay. Now we're going to look at the Word template, and I'm going to pull up the most common used Word template. This is template B. This is template B. Now I'll say this before I get into that with one more statement on the ProQuest submission. When you submit, there's a quiz there as well that will make sure things match up with. We'll get a notification and get it to where you get a 100 on that, and then you'll be ready to graduate with the submission process. All right, so here's our Word template. This is template B we're looking at now. I do have it in dark mode, and let's go to the Home tab and just show you some of the basic features in Microsoft Word. If you're using a Mac computer, we do have a handout for Mac users. I highly recommend letting us know that. We also offer workshops specifically for Mac users. So these are the basic functions and features that I think are really important in using our template. When you have this Home tab selected, if you'll look in this paragraph area, this little icon to the top right, some people call it a paragraph marker. The official term for it's a pilcrow. And this is a show or hide button. So when we click on it, it begins to show hidden commands. It's showing us where enters and returns. And this little arrow pointing to the left is a soft return. You can see we have instructions built into the template here. Tells you the title must be sentence case, and it must be in inverted pyramid format, meaning the top line's the longest, the bottom line is the shortest. Another feature that's handy from the Home tab, this Styles area, this little icon, if you click it, and it may open the Styles pane up in the middle, and then I like to drag it over to the edge, if I can get it back where it was. There we go. And then you can make it be however wide or narrow you'd like for it to be. The Styles pane is super, super, super important. Learning how to apply styles in the template is the key to the template. You may be saying, well, I've already typed my document up. It's not going to be a problem for you to copy and paste things into the template. You also may be thinking, well, I don't know if I want to write in the template. I hadn't started my writing process yet. I highly recommend starting with the template. It'll make it so much easier and save you so much time if you begin writing with the template. The next feature If you go to the View tab, in this Show area, the navigation pane, I leave it like this all the time, where I can see the navigation pane and the styles pane. I want to see those things all the time because they're telling me things that are really important. This shows me what's populating in the navigation pane. It's called a navigation pane because now I can look. If I want to go straight to chapter 2, I just click on it and now I'm at chapter 2. And so it makes you being able to move in your document so much quicker than if you did not have that available and just having to, use your middle button scrolling all the time. Also, the grid lines are something that I use, and you can see I have them set in half-inch blocks. If yours do not show up in half-inch blocks, a way you can change that is by going to Layout, Align, and Grid Settings. And you can see here I have the horizontal and vertical spacing set at a half-inch. This way I can easily see the 1-inch margin on the left and the right and the top and the bottom. The title page, as you see, is the only page in the document that is bottom aligned. So we have the 1-inch margin at the bottom and everything works up from there. So let's begin with just playing with the template some. So let's do a little example. So anytime we have these control boxes built in the template with titles, this is title, this is the author's name, committee members, major professor. If you click on that tab that appears in the control box, it'll highlight the entire box. And then we can create our title. So let's do an example title. And there's just an example right there. So we're in sentence case and we're only capitalizing words that are proper nouns, right? And then when we get ready to do our name, we can easily type it in here. Just type in my name. You get ready to put your major professor's name in. You can put it here. Put my supervisor's name in. If your major professor is also the grad coordinator, there's an option there, rather than you having to type all that. Also, if your grad coordinator happens to be on your committee and is not the major professor, you can select it like this. Your dean's name. I mentioned College of Arts and Sciences. We'll use Dr. Travis today as an example. And then you pick the college, and this is the only place you're going to list the college. Okay, unless the college is your department, you don't have an official department you're under, then you would list it again down here in this department of. Then your document type, dissertation or thesis. If you're using the APA template, and we're in the process of updating our templates and you need to put capstone, it's easy to just add capstone there like that. Your degree, we have these and we have new degrees, so we're really about to update these templates. Like we now have a Master of Fine Arts on campus through the architecture program. There's also Doctor of Education. We're adding those things in, but if it's just like this, we'd add it that way. Of course, we wouldn't have a capstone with a Master of Arts, so I'll change that back. You would manually type your major and manually type your department. If you're graduating in December, here's where you would select your date. Now look what's happening in our document as we put things like the author's name and the date, the years populating on the copyright page, and then the abstract page, the dates populating, the titles populating, the type of degree is populating. A little glitch we'll fix in our update. Hopefully we'll get this fixed. It's not populating our major professor. Somehow it got broken, but we'll get that fixed and get it to where it's populating eventually. No big deal right now. Manually enter it. That's one thing you may have to manually enter. These pages in study, I'll show you how to update that automatically later on and update it when we get done playing with the template. This is where your abstract will go, where this paragraph is. And it gives you some instruction about your abstract. If you're doing a thesis, it's limited to 150 words. A dissertation is limited to 350 words. So notice those first three sections, your main title page, your copyright page, and the abstract page or pages do not have any page numbers. The first page number is going to come on the page following your abstract. We have a dedication page set up. Notice that page number is small Roman numeral 2. The dedication and the acknowledgments pages are optional. I would say 99% of our students, though, have both. And so you say, well, what's the difference in a dedication and an acknowledgments page? And in my opinion, the dedication page is more personal. So this might be family or people, that have helped you your whole life, had an influence in your life that you want to dedicate the document to. Your acknowledgments is more professional. The people that have helped you with your research, maybe your major professor or people on your committee, things like that have been involved in your professional career as a student. So that's the difference in those two. And then following those pages is where our table of contents is. We're not going to touch the table of contents, not right now. And as a matter of fact, you should never ever have to manually do anything to your table of contents. If we learn how to apply these styles properly, I'm going to show you how to come back and update it automatically. It's going to save you so much time to never have to type anything in your table of contents. Same for your list of tables and same for your list of figures. Should never have to manually do anything to those. All right, let's get into the document. Chapter 1 is technically our first page of the document. Okay. And so notice when I click on chapter 1, chapter number style is appearing in my styles pane. Next to it is a hidden code. So if I turn my Pilcrow off, it disappears. That is making the word chapter populate into the table of contents. And then this is where our chapter title will go. Notice it is just like the main title in that it's an inverted pyramid, but it is different in that it is all caps. It is not sentence case. Only the main title is sentence case. All chapter titles, all appendix titles are all caps. Very typical chapter 1 title is introduction. Okay, so we'll put that there. Notice it's in the chapter title style, chapter number style. If I want to start writing right after I put that in and hit enter, it automatically puts me in the paragraph style so that it's formatted for paragraphs. Notice it already creates the indentation. I don't have to hit tab or anything. I can just start typing away. We have an example paragraph here. Notice it's in that paragraph style as well. And I highly recommend applying the paragraph style to your paragraphs. This will ensure that all your paragraphs are consistent. We don't care if you indent or not. We don't care if it's left aligned or justified, but we do care that they all be the same. So whatever you decide to format your paragraphs as, we can help you adjust and modify the style to fit what you want it to be. The default is indented, left aligned. If you wanted to do it justified, we can show you how to adjust that. And then how to have subdivisions, different sections within your chapter. And you see we have first level headings right here. So if you're using APA or template A or template B, a first level heading is always going to be centered and bold. Okay. And here's how we apply a heading. So let's say after this first paragraph of our document, we're going to have a heading called basics. And notice it's just regular font. I want to make sure my cursor's in that word or phrase, and then I'm going to apply this first level heading to it. Once I click on that, it centers it automatically and makes it bold, and look where it is now. It's also in our navigation pane here on the left, and that's letting me know, hey, it's doing exactly what I want it to do. And so next time I update my table of contents, that word basics is going to show as the first heading in my first chapter. Once I hit enter after that, it puts me in that paragraph style again. If we had a subsection of basics, let's say model basics,
and we apply this second level. Second levels are left aligned in bold, okay? And then for third levels, get a little, if we have a subsection, let's say car model basics is a third level heading. Third level headings are centered, bold, and italicized, right? So those are how our different levels are, and we go all the way up to a fifth level heading and have examples for those. When you enter a new table into your document, we have quick part commands and building blocks built into the template. With a regular Microsoft computer, all you have to do is type new table, and these instructions are here at the top of the page. Type new table and hit F3, and it automatically populates the table number for you. And notice the table title style when we click on it. If we want to change the title of it, example table title for workshop, it's easy to do that. It gives you a place to build a table from scratch. If you've already created a table, it's easy to just click on this icon to highlight the entire table and delete it. And then you could create a place to paste in the table you've created, okay? Now this is where that ruler bar, if you go back to your view tab and turn this ruler bar on, and you click within a table in a cell, all of a sudden the ruler bar starts showing you where these columns are with these little grids. And when you place your cursor over it, it gives you that arrow that points to the right and to the left. And so notice how we got to change this when we update our template too. Notice it's populating a table in there that's over our right margin. But if I wanted to fix that, I simply go over here and I can drag that column to where it fits exactly on that margin where I want it. We also have a table note style set up for you. You may not have notes, that's okay. You can just delete it. But if you do, that way you can make sure all of your table notes are formatted consistently throughout your document by applying that style to it. If you have equations, you enter them by typing equation number and hit F3. Now, as I mentioned before, these quick part commands work differently with a Mac computer. If you're a Mac user, you're going to need to go up to your Apple menu, and it gives you an option to insert, and then you go to auto text and auto text again, and then you can select it. You can't do it with these commands as easily as you can from a regular PC. But contact me if you're a Mac user, and I can give you a handout that gives you instructions on how to enter all of these things like tables, equations, figures, and new chapters. Equations, as you can imagine, have a lot of symbols that are not normal alphabetic symbols. And so software that does things like screen reading or Braille for people with blindness are not able to read those symbols. And so equations need to have an alternative text. The way that we add an alternative text for people with disabilities is when you hover over one of these equations or click on it, notice this little icon, the same crosshair that shows up for a table. That if you click on it, it highlights the entire equation. And right now we're on page 3. If you right click on the highlighted area, it gives you these options. You would then want to select table properties, and then the alt text tab. And in the description box, every equation is going to have the same alternative text. This equation is discussed on page 3. If you have any questions, please contact the author. And then, I can take that one, I can copy it, I can go to my next equation, and I can put it in there. The only thing that would ever change would be your page number. And so now those are web accessible and will not throw any errors up in our PDF file. There's instructions here for how to do some of those things that helps with web accessibility as well. Another thing that needs to be made web accessible are figures and images, and I'll show you that in a moment. But I want to show you some of these other styles we have built in. Like we have a split paragraph continued style. If you have lots of block quotes,
I highly recommend using the block quote style. That, as I mentioned before, we don't care how you format them. We just want them to all be formatted the same. So if you have a block quote in chapter 1 and another one in chapter 4, they need to look the same. And so by using this style we've created, and you apply it, you're going to ensure that they look the same. We also have styles for numbered lists. We want those to be consistent, and bulleted lists all throughout the document. Those are things you can apply and make sure that they match up. When you get ready to add a new figure, it's a very similar command as new table and equation number. You just type new figure and hit F3. It gives you a place to upload your image. If you have your image saved on your device, you easily can click here to insert that, or if it's online, wherever it may be. But it's easier if you have it saved on your device, and you can click from file like this. And let's see here. I'll get to see a picture of my family, or me and my wife. Here we go. So there we go. You can easily insert an image like that. And notice what just happened there. My figure notes went to the next page. I either want to start that figure on a new page, or I want to shrink it or get rid of this so that all of the image, the title, and the notes all are on the same page together. And then we would give it a title. I'll just put Davis family at Dollywood for Christmas. Okay, if you have notes, there's the figure note style. Your figure title style is populating that number as well as connecting that style to your figure title. This needs to be made web accessible as well and given an alternative text. So the way that we do that is we left click on the image, then we right click, and then we select View Alt Text. It'll open up this alternative text pane. And in that box, you just want to put a brief description of the image. This image is just something simple like that. Doesn't have to be super detailed. Imagine someone blind is what I tell students comes to this image. They're not able to see it. This is not going to be something you'll see in your document. It's going to be embedded in the image so that a screen reader or software would be able to explain to someone that can't see it what it is. Okay, so that's how you make that image web accessible. All right, to create new chapters, we've set up a second chapter. You just simply, like we entered the figure in the table, type new chapter, and then F3. And it'll create a new chapter for you. Here's another glitch we're going to try to fix when we update. Notice our chapter 2 went from page 7 on at the end of 1 and started over at 1. If this happens, don't let it bother you. If you can't remember what I'm about to do, just contact me. It's something, I had a student a couple of weeks ago said, I spent 7 hours trying to fix this. Well, he met with me and I fixed it in about 30 seconds. So don't fret over something like that. Just shoot me an email. Chances are I've seen it before. And if I haven't seen it before, I can help you figure out how to fix it. And that means I'll get to learn something that day. So don't hesitate to contact me. The way that you fix this page number issue is you double click in the footer. It highlights the number. And when you double click in the footer or the header, it opens up a new tab, this header and footer tab at the top. Then you're going to go to the left side and select page number, format page numbers, and continue from previous section. And that'll update the page number that you want so that it'll continue into the next section properly. You can see every chapter ends with one of these section breaks. That's really, really important. If that section break is not there, then the chapter heading will not be a 2-inch top margin. And so that's what makes chapter title pages different. They have a 2-inch top margin, whereas our other pages have a 1-inch top margin. We have a references page set up for you so that if all of your references are at the end of the last chapter, this is how you would organize your references. And we even have a reference entry style. If you are using something like Zotero or Mendeley, there's no problems with you merging that into Word, but sometimes the formatting's a little bit off even with doing that. And so this reference entry style can help you with the formatting. You can just simply highlight all of your references and apply that style. There may be some returns or enters you have to take out or some tabs if you've already been adjusting it. But it'll be a lot better using that reference entry style. Now, if you're wanting to put your references at the end of the chapter, so let's just say we want at the end of each chapter, this is how you would do it. I would recommend creating a regular page break. And then at the top of a page, a new page, you're just going to type references, or you might use literature cited, and you're going to make it a first level heading. And then you'd use that reference entry style to format your references. We have appendices set up. They're totally optional. You don't have to have an appendix, but if you do, we have a place for them. We have the first two set up. And notice it's different from a chapter title page in that the appendix letter and the title are the only thing on the title page for an appendix. We also have a hidden code here that populates the word appendix onto the table of contents. And then the content of your appendix will begin on the subsequent page. There's examples here of if you want to do headings, there's appendix first levels. Now with APA, it's the same heading style, so you don't even need to worry about that. But with template B and template C, you're going to have appendix first level headings that are different. And your table titles are going to have a different style, and it's going to be an appendix table title. And so if you wanted to create a new one, you would type new appendix table and press F3. Same way with a figure and with an equation. So equation appendix number and new appendix figure would be the command that you would use. Okay, and so notice on our very last page, we have another little hidden code right here at the end. And so if everything's working properly, we've got 16 pages. We go back to our abstract page, right click on that pages and study number and select update field, and it automatically populates it to 16, that last page, as long as that command is there. If it's not, it's no big deal to manually enter that. And now we're ready to update our table of contents with some of the changes we made. You can either left click till it highlights, or you can just right click on it and select update field and then update entire table and click OK. And it starts populating all the things. Our chapter title populated in, that reference section, these other sections. Notice my page number didn't right align. This is a glitch I have never been able to fix. Whenever we have headings that have short words, this is the only thing you'll ever have to manually do to your table of contents. You put your cursor to the left of that page number and hit tab, and it right aligns it. But other than that, you should never have to do anything manually to your table of contents. We update our list of tables the same way. Right click, update field, update entire table, and there's that new table that we created. Same with your list of figures. Right click, update field, update entire table, and there's that image that we entered there and created a new figure. All right, so those are the basic uses of the template.